You don't belong here, lady. This isn't a soup kitchen. The words cut sharper than the silverware clinking around the room. Loretta Hayes stood near the maitre d's podium, her small hands resting on a silk scarf draped over her arm. She'd only come to celebrate her late husband's birthday at the restaurant they once loved. Two uniformed officers, called in by the manager, loomed over her. One jabbed a finger toward the door. Move along before we make you. Her eyes flicked to the polished floor, then back up, steady, unblinking. A waitress glanced over from the bar, hesitated, then looked away. Guests whispered behind linen-covered tables, torn between curiosity and discomfort. The taller officer reached for her shoulder. That was when the air shifted, heavy, as if everyone sensed they were crossing a line they didn't see yet. What happened next would stop the entire room. The officer's grip tightened, pulling Loretta a step back. Her knees buckled against the edge of a chair, and her silk scarf slipped to the floor. The manager's voice carried across the dining room, smug and certain. You see, officers. She doesn't even know where she is. Probably wandered in to warm up. Loretta straightened, brushing at the crease in her navy dress. I have a reservation, she said evenly, but you never asked my name. A couple at the corner table exchanged glances, one of them raised a phone under the tablecloth. The second officer smirked. Lady, people like you don't get reservations here. Her fingers curled at her side, nails pressing into her palm. The clatter of forks seemed louder than the music, like the room was waiting for her to break. She didn't. Instead, she glanced toward the double doors at the entrance and murmured, then perhaps you should meet the one who made it. The officers laughed, but a few guests stopped eating. Something was coming, and no one knew whose side they'd end up on. The doors swung open with a slow, deliberate push. 3 men in tailored black suits stepped inside, their polished shoes barely making a sound on the marble. Conversations died mid-sentence. At the center was Vincent Hayes, his tie the color of blood, eyes scanning the room like he owned every breath in it. He walked straight to Loretta without glancing at the officers. Ma, he said, kissing her on the cheek, you called. The taller cop stiffened, his hand drifting from her arm. Sir, this is a private matter, Vincent's gaze cut to him like a blade. Private? You put your hands on my mother in front of an audience. His voice was low but carried to every corner of the room. The manager's face drained of color, a wine glass slipped from a waiter's hand, shattering on tile. Vincent turned his head slightly. Badges. On the table. Now. The 2 officers froze, caught between protocol and something much more dangerous. The tension in the air was a living thing. The shorter officer glanced at the manager, as if hoping for backup, but the man was already stepping away, pretending to check on another table. One by one, the badges hit the polished wood with a dull clink. Vincent didn't look at them, his eyes stayed on the officers. You think this place is above respect? He asked, his tone almost casual. Not anymore. He turned to the maitre d'. As of an hour from now, this restaurant is under new ownership. A ripple of shock moved through the guests, gasps, murmurs, phones discreetly raised. Loretta adjusted her scarf, the silk whispering against her wrist. She didn't smile, didn't gloat, just stood as the balance of the room tilted. The taller cop swallowed hard, his earlier bravado gone. Somewhere in the back, a wine bottle popped open with an awkward echo, like the space itself was exhaling. Vincent leaned toward his mother. You want to stay for dessert? She shook her head. We've already had enough. They walked out together, the weight of every gaze following them to the door. Outside, the night air was cool, carrying the muted hum of traffic. Vincent's men lingered at a distance, but Loretta paused at the curb, adjusting the scarf her husband had given her decades ago. She looked back through the restaurant's wide windows, where the officers now stood awkwardly in the corner, their uniforms suddenly just fabric. Respect, she said quietly, isn't something you can take, it's something you can lose. Vincent opened the car door for her without a word. As they drove away, the lights of the restaurant glowed behind them, already a different place than it had been an hour ago. And somewhere inside, the people who had watched it all unfold would remember the moment a woman they thought powerless rewrote the rules without raising her voice. Loretta didn't need force to reclaim her dignity, only composure and a network of power no one saw coming. Life will always have people who underestimate you, but it's your response that defines who you are. If this story made you think, share it and join us for more by subscribing to the channel and leaving your thoughts below.